So we'll do two quick problems. So the first problem, notice it says f of x. So in actuality, this should say f of n. Now, f of n, or f of n equals negative 3n minus 6, that f of n is a function, and it's interchangeable with y. So really what we're doing here is we're saying negative 3n minus 6 equals f of n, but that f of n is also equal to n minus 4. And just like we did in the last equation, we know that negative 3n minus 6 equals n minus 4. So now we are going to get the variables on the left, the constants on the right. So we're going to add 6 to both sides. We have negative 3n equals n plus 2. Okay, then we're going to subtract n to both sides, and we're going to be left with negative 4n equals 2. Divide by negative 4 to both sides. And when we do that, you're left with n equals negative 2. Negative 1/2. And now you're done. Problem 4 is example 4 is slightly more tricky. So what we're going to do is we're going to underline the important words as we go along. It says there are 13 animals, so there's a number, so 13 animals in the barn. Some are chickens and some are pigs. There are 40 legs in all. How many of each animal? So they mentioned that they want to know about the animals. So that has to be the chickens and the pigs. So, mentions 13 animals. It also mentions 40 legs. Now, in terms of the animals, we have chickens, we have pigs. And I know that when I add up the chickens and pigs, there should be 13 of them. So, that's the first equation. And we're going to define our variables real quick. So c is equal to the number of chickens. P is equal to the number of pigs. Now, all we started with was the 13 animals and the 40 legs. And from there, you write an equation based on what you know. So we know that there's chickens and pigs, and there are 13 total. Now for the legs, it's the same principle. We have chickens and pigs, and there's supposed to be 40 legs. The only problem is, if C is the number of chickens and P is the number of pigs, then shouldn't that be 13? So what we need to do is adjust this equation a little bit. If we're talking about legs, we have to talk about how many legs are on a chicken. So if they're in the chicken, there are 2 legs. And the number of pigs, there are 4. So when we take the number of chickens and multiply by 2, that tells us how many legs there are in all of the chickens. If we multiply 4 by the number of pigs, it tells us how many legs there are total in the number of pigs. So now we have our 2 equations. So we're going to take them, and we are going to find a way to solve this system of equations. So we are going to, because we haven't seen this before, we don't have an equation that says x equals or y equals, or in this case c equals or p equals, so we have to make it look like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the top equation, because it's the easiest, and solve it for c. You could solve for p, but c was already there. So to get c by itself, we're going to subtract p from both sides. We're going to be left with c equals 13 minus p. So now we know that C is equal to 13 minus P. So what we're going to do is we're going to use these interchangeably. Anytime we see C, I'm going to replace it with 13 minus P on the second equation. So here goes. 2 times, not C, but 13 minus P plus 4P equals 40. We're going to distribute that too. So now we have 26 minus 2P plus 4P equals 40. We're going to combine like terms. So 26 plus 2P equals 40 because negative 2P plus 4P is 2P. We're going to subtract 26 to both sides. We're left with 2P equals 14. Divide 2. Divide 2. P equals 7. So now we know we have 7 pigs. We have 7 pigs. And because we know we have 7 pigs, we could substitute it into our C equals equation and discover that C equals 13 minus 7, because we have 7 pigs. And we'll learn that we have 6 chickens. So now we know we have 7 pigs and 6 chickens. Now it's your turn. Try solving problems 1, 2, and 3. First person to post on Edmodo will start. Everyone else will just reply. That's all for now. See you guys next time.